What is up, people? It is me, Monster58, and welcome back to another video review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Infernac Universe Magneous. I believe, from my understanding, that these guys, they're new armorizers. They're coming from the line of the Rock Lords, is my understanding of this. Just to double check, I believe that's what I'm understanding. I don't know much about the Rock Lords, although I know that they're just rock transformers essentially, and I like golems that are made of rocks, so I think that's cool. I still just like rocks and minerals in general, so I think that that's pretty cool. But nice to see these guys get some representation. It's been obviously probably a long time for fans of the Rock Lords since they've seen any representation of their characters, but we do have very nice artwork of Magneous right there. Then we obviously have the Infernac Universe Magneous, Legacy United, Transformers, Generations. More nice artwork there of Magneus' head, of his body, and then we obviously have some more nice artwork of the 40th anniversary Legacy United artwork, and then finally the obligatory product shots. And as you can see by this picture, you can actually take him apart fairly crazily. There's a lot of parts here that you can use to armorize your figures up. But that's about it for the box, so let's get this guy out of the box and see how he is. Alrighty, folks, here we have the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Infernac Universe Magneus in his vehicle mode, which is, I'm assuming, a truck. I assume this is basically like a pickup truck. It's to what I understand. But here he is, and he looks pretty wild. I mean, one complaint I know that this figure currently has is mainly its monochromatic paint scheme. And I totally understand that, and I guess from an objective standpoint, I guess it is a knockoff on this figure. But for me, for a figure that's meant to look like Obsidian, Obsidian doesn't really have many other colors other than gray, black, and more gray and black. So I think that they did this character justice in terms of the material he's supposed to be made out of, but I guess from a look standpoint, I can totally understand, the average person who doesn't know too much or doesn't, like monochromatic color schemes all that much, or like just like essentially color separation, wouldn't really like this figure. And so I can totally understand that criticism, and in a way I can knock off for that, or I kind of will knock off for that. But to me, it looks really, really good. And one thing I'd like to point out is when it comes to looking at the details here, you can see that this gray here is a significant difference from this gray, and you can definitely see it more in person. But the one thing I have to say about this figure is the incredible amount of molded in rock detail, because you can see, like, look at the roof there, incredible detail there. More here on the hood, here on the front bumper you have like this nice meaty front bumper. That's some more nice molded in details here. More here, even more here. Just going across this whole thing. And if you look at the bottom, you can't even really tell this guy's a robot. Like, you can see this is the waist. But for the most part, I mean, this guy looks absolutely fantastic in terms of its molded in detail. And you cannot deny that about this figure, despite its monochromatic color scheme. Now, when it comes to the armorizer part, I'll more show this in robot mode, because that's where I think it's a little more significant to see all the parts of this guy that can come off, and plus it's easier to remove them in robot mode. But one thing I will show off real quick is his axe. This does peg on to this back, so you see you have these two ports right here, and then you do have the axe, which has two pegs, one on each side there, which are really, really nice. Very nice weapon storage. It blends in. That's a nice thing about this. But taking a look at the axe, again, very nice detail. You can see all that molded in rock detail. It looks fantastic. These pegs kind of stick out, but for the most part, this is really, really freaking cool, and I really do like how this looks. And I don't know, just a really cool accessory. Doesn't come with the gun, but he's a rock guy. To me, a gun would kind of be redundant. So, yeah, when it comes to everything here, I think that this does look very, very good. So when it comes to the vehicle mode, honestly, thumbs up from me, but I can see the monochromatic color scheme, criticisms. Going into the comparisons, we're going to set this guy right off to the side here. And here's the major comparison we're just going to do today. And here he is with his Core Class Wavemate, Core Class Boulder Crash. And I gotta say, these two look very nice together. And what you'll notice is for a Core Class, this guy's pretty hefty, actually. But you can see size difference. This guy's a pretty good size deluxe. He feels also heavier than this guy. So it's nice to see that this guy definitely feels like that deluxe price point. Take a look more here. See more comparisons. Also, I'm going to say this guy's pretty good. I do only have one major criticism of this guy, and you'll see when we do the review. But very nice all around. I think that with the first two Rock Lords that we've gotten for the Armorizers of this year, I think that these guys are pretty damn good. So that's about it for the comparisons. Honestly, pretty solid scale. All right, from here, now we get into the transformation, which is very, very simple, actually. So, to start off here, we're going to take the axe and we're just going to remove it, set it off to the side, or set it off wherever you want to. Next, you kind of wiggle the back off, and then this just kind of ends up becoming untabbed. You just rotate this all the way around, and then all you got to do is fold the feet down and split the legs. That's literally all the legs already transformed. That's it. Now, for the top part of the body, very simple. Fold the arms out. You can rotate these up to get them out of the way. Take the wheel sections here. Or excuse me, take the head. We'll do that first, rotate that up. Then you can take these wheel sections, fold them in. And then what you got to do is essentially what you'll notice is that there's tab holes right there. It's kind of hard to see, sorry for my light, but you can see there's tab holes on either side, and then you can see on the side of the chest here there are tabs right there on either side. And essentially what you have to do is you kind of pull this apart, and then you just accordion this down, and then you essentially try and line this all up so that this all tabs into place like so. And then all you got to do, take the fist, rotate it down, rotate it around, rotate it like that, rotate it around. Obviously, put the arms down while you're doing that. And ladies and gentlemen, whoops, usually stands up pretty well. There we go. Here we have the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Infernac Universe Magneous in his robot mode. And I gotta say, guys, this guy looks pretty solid. I mean, I have no major issues with this guy except for one, and that's just how the chest looks. But zooming in here so you can take a look at the details, his head's really cool. He's got some nice yellow paint there. You can see like that gold yellow paint for his eyes. That's really nice. And then the different color for the main part of his face, and then the darker color for his face mask. But again, the chest just kind of looks funky to me. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but to me it just looks weird because there's nothing in here. There's nothing in the center, so it just kind of feels like that there's a peck and then nothing and then a peck. I don't know. It just looks weird to me. That's my personal major criticism. But other than that, I mean, all this molded in detail still comes out. Again, you get the nice molded in detail here on the head, right here on the arms, right here as well on the crotch piece, and then obviously on the legs as well. You get some more vents here as well. And then looking at this guy from a side profile, this guy's extremely clean. There's like nothing here on the back. So really, really solid stuff all around, and I can't really complain about this guy in his robot mode in terms of whether it's clean or not. The only issue is, I guess, if you scroll here to the turn around here in the back, you do have some hollow spaces here, but that's about it. I mean, it's a deluxe figure. What are you going to do? I mean, you kind of, in a way, can expect that, especially given budget and stuff like that. But obviously, the major play factor from this guy comes with the fact that he can just be torn apart. And obviously, as you saw with how I transformed him, you actually don't need to parts form him to transform him, which is always a really nice plus. So when it comes to his immediate accessories that he can use, you can obviously take this big section here of the truck mode, or the pickup truck mode, and then you can remove that, and then there's a little peg right there, that circle, and then you can actually have him hold this like so, as like a little shield, and then you can have him obviously hold his axe. You have a little peg there, and then you can just have him hold his axe like this, and here you have him with his little weapons here. And I think that looks pretty damn cool. The only thing, I'm not a big fan of the shield. I've not always been a fan of these just flat square shields. Like even Earthrise Optimus Prime had that with this trailer. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I don't know. I just think it looks kind of funky. That's just my personal opinion. You're free to, and entitled to have your own. But when it comes to this guy, again, he is an armorizer, so of course he comes apart. So removing all of his accessories, so obviously you have the axe in this, but you can actually remove his arms very easily. They just have these little pegs here. You have these pegs here, and then you just have the holes in there. So you can remove his arms. And then the other thing you can do with his arms is that these pieces here on the backs of his arms, you can actually remove those as well. So you can actually remove those. Again, just another 5mm there, and then just a 5mm port. So you can just easily take these on and off, rotate them however you want, attach them to other figures. And I'll actually bring in another figure here in a second so you guys can see that. But yeah, you can do that, which is pretty cool. The other thing you can do here is actually remove like the fronts of his legs essentially. So if you take here, you can essentially like push up here, and then you can remove the bottoms of his legs entirely, which is pretty interesting. And then obviously you're just kind of left with this. And then what you can do with these is, from what I understand, is you can essentially take them and then you have these little pegs here because that's how they peg in. So you can see here on the legs, they peg in like essentially, excuse me, they peg in like this, right? So they peg in like this. And so the way they peg in is via like these, excuse me, these tabs. I'm sorry, I couldn't find them for the life of me. But it's these tabs here. So what you can do is, because those tabs are on top, that's the point of these tabs, is that you can actually like tab these on. So if you wanted to have like his feet on top of this axe, you could do that, right? This is what they show in the actual like back of the box. And the other thing you can also remove the sides, like you can remove these wheels as well. So well, takes a little bit of doing, but you can remove these wheels as well on both sides, like so. God, this one's a little tough. There we go. But you can remove the wheels as well, and then you're left with a bunch of 5mm ports on either side. But you can remove those and use these as well. So let me bring in, I actually have Bumblebee here on hand. So if we bring in Bumblebee here, we can actually, like, if you really wanted to, you could have him wield one of Magneous's arms for the hell of it. Actually, I don't know if that fits very well in there, but you can take the axe here that he has, and then Bumblebee can hold it like so. So you can have Bumblebee wield like this crazy big axe that's way too big for him, but you can have him wield that. And then I think I don't remember Bumblebee. Oh, you can like, I can like peg these like rock things onto his sides and stuff if I really wanted to. So you could like do stuff like this. There's obviously a lot of play value. I'm not going to deny that, but this to me is just stupid. But it's nice that they have it. I'm not going to deny that. You know, you do what you want. It's your freaking toy, right? At the end of the day, it's meant to be a kid's toy. So just wanted to show that off real quick. But yeah, I will cut till when I put this guy back together. Alright, with him all back together, the one thing I did forget to mention, I'm sorry, because I was having trouble, like, why wasn't Bumblebee holding one of his arms? It's because you're meant to use, like, these pegs here on the side of his shoulders. There's one on each side for, obviously, one of each of his arms. But, yeah, so overall, nice playability with this guy and the accessories. You know, you can do literally whatever you want with this guy, so that's pretty cool. And then he has nice accessories just for his own self, you know, his own robot mode. So I do very much enjoy how this guy looks, and I think that they did a very nice job giving him that play factor that Armorizers have, as well as giving him a very nice looking robot mode, again, besides the chest, in my opinion. So, for some quick comparisons, we're actually going to set him off to the back here, because one of the figures I'm going to bring out is actually a pretty tall guy. So, setting Magneous off to the back here. Alright guys, here we have Magneous with Deluxe Class Anime Universe Bumblebee, Prime Universe Voyager Class Thundertron, his wave mate and other Rock Lord companion Boulder Crash, the core class one, and obviously himself. So you can see he scales pretty well. He is an average size deluxe. I mean, obviously Thundertron being a Voyager, this is a pretty hefty boy right here. And his review and Boulder Crash's reviews will come soon. And then we obviously also have Bumblebee here, who is a small deluxe. But yeah, I think he scales well, and I think that he is a very, solid scale. Like, there's nothing to complain about here. Alright guys, and from that point on, the last thing to do before the transformation is the articulation. So he has some alright articulation, nothing crazy. So his head is on the swivel, but you can't do like really a full 360 because of the way it's designed, but you can get a lot of left to right, like about that much, Arms will do a full 360. Then you do have an upper part rotation at the bicep and at the elbow. and then you rotation here, and then you have a 90-degree bend at the elbow. But it's nice, you have fully articulated wrists. That's pretty cool, and not something you see on the Deluxe very often, mainly due to transformation, but still. You do get full waist, which is very, very nice. You do get full waist articulation. You can kick forward about that far. You can kick back really freaking far. You actually get a really nice back kick. You do get way more than 90 degrees at the elbow, which is at the elbow at the knee, which is nice. You got an upper thigh rotation as well, and then you do have ankle rocker. Not too much, but enough, I guess. And then you do have some forward and back due to transformation. So you can get this guy in some pretty solid poses, I will admit. Nothing too insane, but solid enough, and I don't think that you're going to have a Rock Lord in some absolutely crazy dynamic poses, but it is nice to be able to get this guy into some pretty decent poses. Alright guys, and from there, it is time for the reverse transformation, which is just as simple as the transformation that got him to robot mode. So, first things first, I actually like to do the upper body, so actually, well, just finish the legs by just tapping them in and then tapping the feet together and then just rotate the feet up like that. And you basically have most of this finished already. Then you can take the head section and the chest. So flay these out a bit and then just wiggle this out and this should come out pretty easily. And then all you got to do is rotate the legs after you've accordion that section up like that, and then just fold the head down like so. Then all you got to do for the arms, mainly rotate the wrist, the hand, so that the fists are facing up like this, and then rotate them in like that. And again, do the same here. So if you have like the joint exposed like this towards the front, you just rotate it like that. Rotate the fist in, and then all you got to do is rotate these down, and then rotate these around like that. Make sure to straighten everything out, and then just line up everything so all this fits. Like so on both sides, and just double check that. Then just take this section, rotate it around, and what you'll see here is that you'll notice there are tabs right there. Kind of hard to see. You can see that tab right there, and then there is a slot right here, and then you just got to essentially slot this whole thing into place. It's not too bad. Same thing on this side, and then you can just do your best to slot that in like that, like so. And then you can take this, obviously, tab this back into place, helps keep the back together as well. And ladies and gentlemen, here we do have the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Magneous back in his very cool looking vehicle mode. Alright guys, for my final and concluding thoughts on the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Infernac Universe Magneous, he's a pretty solid figure. I mean, I have nothing major to complain about. The only couple things, monochromatic, so for some people I can totally understand the criticism of why that monochromatic does not look good, but I will say in hand he definitely has less of a monochromatic feel than I was initially thinking from the pictures. Also, his chest looks really freaking weird, and his articulation for his head is extremely limited. But other than that, the play factor, the molding and the sculpted in detail, the articulation of the robot mode, there are minor hollow spaces, but I mean, how can you blame it from an armorizer? And again, that play factor is really, really nice here as a replacement essentially for the Junkions that were the armorizers of Legacy Evolution. It's really nice to see that these guys are also doing very nicely. And as some other reviewers say, it's really nice to see that because these guys are kind of like reimaginations of these characters, it allows the designers to kind of do whatever they want and to make it feel cool, and I think that they nailed it here. So out of a 10, got to give this guy about an 8.5. I think he's a fantastic figure. I definitely recommend you pick him up. Now, obviously, if you're someone who's not interested in this, yeah, I can totally understand. But as a figure itself, objectively, like, remove, all the other, aspects of G1 and Prime Universe and Animated Universe, this guy's a really solid figure. I picked mine up on the Big Bad Toy Store, so I'll leave a link in the description to that. Also leave links in the description for Amazon as well as Hasbro Pulse, so you guys can go pick up yours if you want to. Again, Legacy United should be hitting the shelves relatively relatively soon. So if you're going to hunt IRL, I definitely wish you the best of luck. And with that, guys, I think that's about it. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also follow me on the socials. Those are linked in the description below. And with that, guys, I once again thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.